all right. See how it goes right now. Sorry, guys, there's a bit of technical issues today. I didn't really expect it, so we changed the device, and we are trying now to see if it's all good. So let me have a look. Let's see if it's happening. Let us know, guys, if it's all fine right now, please. Right? Whoa!
So far,
I think it works, right? I think it works now. I'm telling you.
see, like my volunteers are there dialing in to this
Yes.
to make sure that like the stream is okay as well. They don't stop.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot for the support. Hello, G. Hello, one more time. We're trying for the third time now to be live, and it's all good now. Cool. So just remember for everyone, this is what's in the glass. This is the digital beer stream versus quarantine. And on Thursday, we're hosting the industry stream, which is a chat about specific topic within the beer industry. And we are hosting the show with some industry legends. And please, G, you are my personal industry legend, so I'm really, really happy that you're here.
That's too kind.
That's good. You are the organizer of Craft Beer Cares, which is a collective of people who love beer and want to do good things. And you were telling us before what is actually happened during the Craft Beer Cares and what Craft Beer Cares is, please.
Yeah. So I said we're an organisation that started up quite a few years ago. I'll be quick because we haven't got that much time left now.
That's good. We can jump a bit potentially more, but
No, I mean, I think we started up looking at what was going on in the rest of the world, looking at other people that were helping other people using food and drink, things like Cook for Syria, Boozers Without Borders, and then looking at, the people that we knew in the beer industry and how, kind and giving that they were. And when we were sitting there and having conversations, we asked the question, would you be willing to give us some free beer if we sold it for charity? And just everyone just said yes. Everyone was wholeheartedly behind it, and it's really validating. It really does feel like a great community, a great family that is there. They were there very much outward looking to look at problems that were going on in the world and willing to help in some way. Now I feel like, given this pandemic, we need to start looking back at what we can do to help maybe the brewing industry. What can we do to help people in hospitality? It was really important for me this year to do kind of a give back to the beer industry, well, the hospitality industry, let's say. And so we were raising money for a charity that's now called the Drinks Trust. It's recently been rebranded, and they have a special COVID fund as well. So anyone in the beer industry who's struggling a little bit, you can go to the Drinks Trust website, and there's a grant application there if you're struggling for funds, and you can apply for some funds through that way. It's now I think an opportunity for many of us so I don't work within the beer industry. I'm just very, very fortunate to have all these great friends who come from that background, who have been so supportive of me and my endeavors. And so now it's a chance for me to start going, what can we do to support independent breweries? What can we do to support small bottle shops?
Yep.
What can we do to support people who work in bars, who some of whom have been supported through their things by their companies, but many of whom haven't. So how do we get through that?
100%. Well, again, we met for the first time in one of your festival, Craft Beer Cares. We were lucky enough to host you in London Fields area, and I remember as well, like, some special elements they never saw in other beer festival. And I remember there were some written rules of behavior in when during the festival itself. And it's curious because we're talking about rules during a festival, which for me are more like rules than we could have and we should have every time when you're walking on the street, when you go to school, when you go work. And the inclusivity, that was the main thing.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that this was highlighted. I'm very lucky to have a bunch of really interesting and diverse friends of mine who brought a bunch of stuff up to me that I maybe have never thought about. And so inclusivity has become a really big keyword for me over the years about how do we ensure that we're not excluding people? What can we do in small ways in our beer festival to make sure that everyone feels comfortable? And so we're really lucky that someone had already kickstarted this initiative called the Everyone Welcome Initiative.
Yep.
I think spearheaded by people like Melissa Cole and there's Lily Waite as well, amongst others. And, you know, they produced the text for us already. It was simple. And when you look at the rules, they all make sense. You know, we should not be providing an atmosphere that allows people to feel uncomfortable. We want everyone to feel comfortable. You know, I was really glad that London Fields got on board with that. This year when we were hosting in another venue, it was all a little bit hectic because of the last minute venue change. But, you know, we had to think a lot outside the box about, okay, what do we do about, you know, disabled access? What do we do about access for people with childcare? You know, all of these questions come up because we want, you know, it's hard enough to do things in, you know, to go out and about and live your life in a fruitful way for many people with different conditions. And we should not be providing any extra barriers. We should be looking at those barriers and trying to take them down.
I remember the helpline as well during the festival. If anyone was feeling uncomfortable or if they were like victim of any sort of, you know, bad comments or you know, anything that could have left feel bad, basically. And you were there, you were saying, look, this is not acceptable, not in our festival, not in our space. This is a safe place, and please,
yeah,
you know.
We're lucky that we don't really have that kind of crowd. You know, the problems have been very, very few and far between. That, you know, we're very, very lucky and fortunate that your average craft beer drinker is a respectful person, is an inclusive person, is a diverse person. The fact that they're choosing to drink something that's not the norm is maybe automatically singling them out as someone that's thinking a little bit more about certain aspects of their life.
Yeah.
And so we've never really had a problem. I mean, we had a stag party once at one of the beer festivals, but there was 12 people, and the worst that happened was that, you know, one person had too much to drink, and we just like, we don't feel comfortable serving you for your safety. You know, and they took it on, you know, with good humor. But, you know, that doesn't mean that will always happen. You know, we will certainly have instances where, you know, maybe something like that happens. And we need to make sure that, all our staff are volunteers. They're all giving up their time and they need to feel 100% safe. And B, all our customers are there to have a good time. And so there is no real reason for you to for anyone to make them feel uncomfortable.
I remember. Oh, well,
that's as simple as that, you know.
100%.
And if you are behaving in a way, you know, perhaps because you've had too much alcohol or whatever, that impacts other people, we will look at that seriously. I mean, you know, I feel like we're making, you know, we're just very cut and dry about the rules because, you know, we're not operating on a business that if someone's going to complain online about us, we're going to care. You know, we're sat there making sure that what is there is right for other people. I remember, sadly, having to stop to go to certain beer festivals because I had some very, very bad experiences with some of my female friends where we weren't being looked after and the atmosphere was uncomfortable and people were sadly being, you know, harassed and even molested. And there's nothing really that was done. You know, many of those festivals have changed their attitudes as well, by the way. But, you know, it did used to happen in the beer industry. And, you know, if you're going to do something yourself, you're going to say, like, no, straight away, this is not acceptable. That's not what we're going to be, you know, standing for. And we're not going to accept it in any way, shape or form.
I remember very well the time that people then were part of a global beer industry, but in the same time feeling that they were a bit, you know, underestimated or literally just, you know, not feeling well about what was happening around them. And I can talk about example of groups where, you know, we're supporting like female within the industry rather than members of the LGBTQ community. Or funny enough, in America, in my point of view, because I wasn't aware of it, people of color we're starting to creating groups. So it's almost feel like that, like probably many other industry or many other subcultures or words or any other places, but people feel like it's time to just saying enough. That's it. Let's change the attitude.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we do need to be, like honest and look at some stuff, but also we do need to be honest with the demographics. Like, like there's diversity and there's inclusivity. And I think I was very fortunate to be on an industry panel at Cloudwater's Friends, Family and Beer, where they had an incredible keynote speaker, Dr. J, who was saying that, well, we look at, there is a problem with diversity. Not maybe not a problem. There is not much diversity in the industry.
Right.
But there also, that is also fairly representative of many of the areas that those people come from. It doesn't mean that it's not problematic. I think when you start going, wow, we're in Hackney or Peckham and we're not at all engaged with our local community. We have a massive problem with representation that reflects our locality. I think then we can talk honestly about that. But if we're sat there going, oh, well, we're in a certain area which is 100% one kind of makeup of person, who is your outreach? Who are you going to go out to? There's only so much you can really do. So, we need to be very honest and open about, where our problems lie. But again, it's coming down to looking at the barriers. I think that's the real problem, is that if you go like, actually, am I providing some implicit barriers to people engaging with our space and coming to our space and feeling comfortable there? And are those the things that I can get rid of regardless? Because there's no reason for a barrier to exist.
No, at all. From any sort of, in any industry, from anyone. And G, you are a festival organizer in terms of the way that you've been dealing with the craft beer cares life and its history. Are you planning anything right now, given the fact that unfortunately festival, you can't really look after them in a proper way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's been a little bit of a hard thing in terms of trying to do stuff that raises money for charity. Simply because I don't really feel right at the moment. I have very frank and honest conversations with my friends in the brewing industry, and I've heard some real horror stories. I've heard stories around like 90% drops in revenue. And so now I'm like thinking, right, well, helping people and caring is, regardless of whether you're a charity or not, it's about looking after everyone. And so now it's time to look after the breweries that have been so crucial to, creating what, we don't exist without the brewery support. We don't exist without our volunteer support. We don't exist without all the people that come from the hospitality industry, many who work in bars on a regular basis, who come and organize our bar and do the cellar work and manage the customers so beautifully. Now is our chance to give back and pay back even further in that way. So, we're looking at some small things. I'm just starting to do a weekly mail out. Probably the first one will be this Sunday, where we're looking at supporting small independent breweries, ones that I'm going to focus on kind of a personal relationship with them and my charity, how we've worked together, what they mean to us, and a way to support them directly, whether it's by buying merchandise, buying their beer direct, buying it through an independent bottle shop. That's something that we're looking to put out on a regular basis, and we're going to do an A to Z. I really hope we don't get, if we're doing it weekly, we don't get to Z. But, we'll also, because I can't think of any breweries with a Z. But
makes sense.
but none that have contributed beer yet. So, yeah.
Probably a home brewer somewhere.
There will be someone. But yeah, it's, this is, one of the ways that we're looking to help. And, I'm there. We're willing to take calls. And, the reason why we raised money for the Drinks Trust this year was because, many people in the hospitality industry and the drinks industry can easily end up in a precarious situation. And these kind of problems where we're having to have a shutdown and a lockdown, they can really disproportionately affect the industry that has helped us so much raise money for other charities. So, we need to be out there as a community of drinkers, thinking, what can we do to help you know, the people that serve me at the bar? What can I do to help people that have been making my beer all this time?
That's brilliant. Well, again, I'm considering the fact that there are more and more people right now, you know, in the industry, and there is so much to just like to do to give back. So you're right. Like number of breweries then in these days trying to do you know they daily work are many, and in at the same time, you know, you don't really know exactly how when this is gonna end. So you know, bottle shop don't know how many beers to buy, breweries don't know how many beers to make, and which should just be this is how it works. This is how things are, and we're here to support you. We're here. It's time now to give back and just relax, guys.
Well, I mean, let's be honest with you, from a customer side as well. Like, beer is, it's like there is some stresses going on. It's a way of kicking back and relaxing with your friends. I've been having beers with my work colleagues over Zoom. It's been part of it. So why not, support an independent brewery, support an independent bottle shop with that stuff at the same time? It's there. It's a good opportunity for us to do that anyway.
Fantastic. Well, can you please tell us what's the story with the main logo, which is on my T-shirt right now?
Well, this one. Yours is
Yes,
a little bit.
exactly that one.
I think
Yes.
we need to get you we need to get you a lively one, I think.
Oh wow! Yes.
Let me know what size you are. I'll send you a new one with brighter
Please.
colors. Well, I mean, so one of those things was, I remember when one of my first beer festivals I went to, there was a couple really big ones. One was Indie Man. This is Indie Man 2014, which I think must have been one of the first Indie Mans I went to. I can't think they were going that much even then. Maybe 2013 was their start. I don't know. And then the other one was Michaela Beer Celebration. And I looked at their logo. It's that angry graphic wolf. But the reason, why I have an angry bear, which is he's salivating. He's got like blood stuff like that coming out.
Yeah.
Because, we're not a placid organization. We really care. It's not like, oh, we're just being ultra nice. There's a real passion behind what we do. There's a real animation behind, how we choose our charities, what they mean to us. We come across a little bit nicely. We don't want to upset people, but there's a real passion. I didn't want it to be the reason why people come and volunteer their time is because of passion. The reason why the brewers do what they do is because of passion. And
exactly.
That's why we created, this logo. A friend of mine created it. So,
Nicola, right?
He's probably surprised it's still going to this day, but I'm really fortunate. And it's become a little bit, it's sort of iconic. I've got my friends who go around with our logo, our little badges and stuff, and around the world they'll be at a beer festival and go, oh yeah, this, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing that it's got that recognition, because I think there are people that find what we do interesting, and we're not the only people doing this stuff, by the way. There are many other people who are also contributing to charities through their beer festivals or through their endeavors. We've got breweries that are almost entirely devoted to social enterprise and charity, so we're just part of a movement that exists around there. So
a fantastic movement.
Yeah,
really great.
Lucky to be part of an industry in that sense that is so supportive, and is an industry where they think about the other person first. That their first instinct is not to what can this do for me, where does it leave my business. They're like, oh, this helps other people. Yes, I'm down for doing it.
The first time that I heard about you and I actually saw you, it was when I was working at Mother Kelly's in E2. And you were, and I still remember that, the most polite customer I ever had. And I remember I said to myself, there are so many nice customers over here in this place, fantastic. It was probably 2017, 2018. So, every craft beer bar had a bigger number of craft beer workers compared to probably these days, which is all over the top. And I remember you, it was probably, again, 2017 or something like that. And I remember you we're starting to chatting with everyone. Everyone really wanted to understand what was the next step of craft beer cares. I'm not sure if you did the festival at that time, 2017.
Yeah, we would have done. Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
this one was. So I'm trying to. God, feeling old now. This was version 4. So yeah, 2016 was probably our first one.
Cool. Wow. Well, and then you jumping from different venues and different difficulties and different dimension, and what we should expect if the word will, probably sort itself out, and what we should expect from craft beers in 2021.
Oh, we got a few ideas. I'm trying not to spoil too many surprises. I think people will be a little bit sad that we're not going to do the summer one at London Fields. It's been an incredible venue for us. It's it's a beautiful venue. It's really, for us as an organisation, the support that we get is incredible, and it makes it so seamless. And the hard work that everyone at London Fields put in over the years, not just last year, but the other ones, has just made it, so much easier for us to run a festival there. But I don't think that's going to be likely in the current climate. So we need to look at different options. We were really interested to partner with SIBA this year. I think that provided a really different aspect in terms of how we get the beer, how we proceed with the festival. Obviously, we had a lot of issues with the venue at the last minute, that through no one's fault, but that was just something that we had to work through.
Yep.
And that means that I feel like there's kind of like some work still to be done. I want to do one festival with them perfect first. Part of me is just like, oh, this is like, there was so much stuff that we could have done better, because if we'd had the venue, if we'd done the timing, etc., if we didn't have 2 hurricanes either side of us. So I kind of want to get one through out the door with them, and I think SIBA has been a really important voice during this period. I think James has been going above and beyond not above and beyond, maybe that's the role of SIBA as a trade organisation, to try and get some clarity about what the rules actually are for brewers, for bottle shops, for businesses. So I think it was a really interesting thing that we partnered with them before this. I think we saw that there was a change in the organisation that was going on. So I think there's maybe one more partnership there. But I think there's also the look at doing kind of smaller things. The beer festival is one way of raising money, but maybe there's other things out there, and we're always looking at seeing what could be done.
I keep thinking, like, teach the people how to well behave, because if you're capable to do it during a beer festival where people have so much to drink, in a way, you could literally go in, quite smoothly and without too many, issues into, guys, this is not just the beer festival type of attitude. This is your reality type of attitude that you should apply in everyday life. I know it's hard, but this is my little dream,
I think, I get that, but I think the people that come to our beer festival behave that way in their spare time as well. Their spare time, their actual life. They just bring that there. They're not behaving that way because I put an A4 poster of rules up. That even I was like, made aware of those rules. I was sat there going, there was many things that, because, of my background, I would not have thought of. And when you actually hear other people's stories, I've recently just gone through a period of training at work, or online training at work, and it brought up a lot of questions from other people and problems of like, this is real stuff that we experience. And we're like, oh God, that is, you don't maybe experience that depending on your background. So it's really important to sit there, listen openly and honestly. And when I started seeing those rules, I was like, wow, this is really, shocking that we have to say this. It's shocking that we have to put this in writing, but it is important that this is just there. We've made you aware of the rules. There was no comeback.
Nice. Well, I think there's going to be a very disruptive time when the pubs are going to open again, because, people won't be able to trust whoever they have next to them. And if someone had the glass, if someone is going to receive a proper washed glass instead of, partially washed glass, and maybe like if that bit of the bar or that table has been, properly clean or things like that. So there's going to be a need of get back to humanity.
Yeah, I mean, I worry about the hygiene side of things is going to be interesting simply because, this is going to get into politics and strategy.
Oh well, just touch it,
I mean, God, we're already past the 30 minutes, so. But the thing about the social distancing thing is it's about limiting the impact on the health service and trying to keep it manageable, which it sadly already isn't. We're already at 1,000 deaths a day. We're in the UK responsible of something like, I think it's not quite 10% of overall deaths in the world.
Yep.
For this disease. So there's some real problems there about the way that we've handled this crisis, obviously. And also we do have very high population densities, and there's some things that, that we can't correlate them to other countries, and we can't, take responsibility for like, this is all our fault because we've done it badly kind of thing. But at the same time we need to have an exit strategy for how we can do this. We can't be suddenly ending lockdown and having people go back to normal, because I just don't think that's going to be practical. Sadly, the government has shown very little direction and guidance on everything. In fact, until they've been forced to show their hand, they have not got involved. So that is a real problem, that we've had no leadership. Everything's taken too long. So I don't know where the end result of that will be, but we can't. It cannot be the agendas constantly forced upon them. I think maybe the industry could look after itself. Maybe it's time for industry bodies to sit there and go like, well, actually, I don't care what the government's going to say. This is what's going to be practical for us. This is going to look after our staff. This is going to look after our customers. But it's very hard. It's very hard for small independent businesses. A lot of what we're tied into doing is based on government recommendations, and that comes down to, sometimes how the financials work, sometimes how the insurances work, how the loans work. There are businesses that are kind of almost being forced to be compliant. So that becomes a big problem. I don't have a solution to that, sadly. I don't want to sit there and just be criticizing without a solution, but that is where I am.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure in the 25 episode more than I'm planning for the digital beer streams, there's going to be space and room for conversation like this, because they're going to be people from breweries, they're going to be people, working for pub companies and bars. So there's going to be a chance to speak about this, and hopefully it's going to be a quite different time than what we are experiencing right now. And
I hope so.
Well, yeah. Again, I think we are close to the 20 to 7. We are restarted 10 minutes after the time, because the Wi-Fi signal is completely mad in this city in these days. Everyone is probably connected with every sort of device. So we managed to go through this conversation. I'm so happy, and I just want to remember to everyone to really have a look at Craft Beer Cares. And Craft Beer Cares is our collective of people who love beer and want to do good things while under the influence. And please, guys, make sure you following G and the group, and wherever they're doing, wherever they type of events they are putting in London and anywhere else. And there is this lovely thing I like, whoever is going to answer the question that I'm doing now can actually win a beer from Indie Beer. So just say, guys, do you remember when I said when we first met, me and G, I was behind the bar, and if anyone remember that can write it in the comment and can have a beer. So you got a minute to do that. Otherwise, you can send me direct on what's in the glass. And G, is there anything else that you want to say to our audience, like recommendation?
Well, get out there, support your local audiences. Support your local breweries. we've got our mailing list coming out on Sunday, so we're gonna do an A to Z, but let's do it. We're gonna do it weekly, so let's see how much of the alphabet we can even get through for this one. But you know, it's really, really important to show support for your local bars, your local bar staff, your local breweries in any way that you can at this point. So.
G, thank you very much for your words. It has been very, very nice and interesting to listen to you. And we have a winner. It's Chan, which is probably the best fan of What's in the Glass in these days. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Watch, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow for another stream. G, be safe, stay hydrated, and I'm gonna see you very soon. Give you a hug very soon, I hope.
Let's hope so. Good to see you, buddy.
All the best.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks for everyone tuning in.